Tango have been together in this format with this lineup since the early 90s and with other lineups before that. I've lost count of the records of yours that I have. Every one to me is its own little piece of art. When the three of you sit down to make a record now, does the concept or the ability for you to come up with ideas, does that get harder?
It doesn't really, actually. I mean, I say that with a certain amount of I don't know, embarrassment, but I mean, because we're all big fans of music, and we've read a lot of interviews over the years, and we've all read, people who we can agree are completely over the hill going, I think this is the best thing I've ever done. And you're like, are you insane? It's not close to the best thing you've ever done.
Yep.
So maybe we're just deluding ourselves, but when we start playing, we get excited by it. I mean, I think it helps that for a long time we've gotten pretty far from a make a record tour, rush right into making another one. So we've gotten decent at avoiding sort of the feeling of people are like looking at their clock, like, come on, let's go, and we could feels like it's coming from within us. Hope so.
With a catalogue like yours, I mean, it goes back so many years, and there's so many different kind of shades and contours to it. How often do you revisit your own music, or do you do that at all?
Not the records. I mean, we do playing the songs constantly, and we'll play them in different ways and kind of revisit them that way. Like, what if we do? I mean, this last year, when we're not doing it today, obviously, but we did when we were here late last year. We've been playing two sets, one quiet, one loud, and the quiet set is on basically a different set of. We have different keyboards and different drums, and given that, we started kind of adapting certain songs for that set and kind of rethinking them, and so we do it in that way, but we never listen to the records.
No. You came and started making music in an age before the internet. The first Yo La Tengo song I ever heard was on Homestead, and this was in the era of what, SST, before Sub Pop were big, Homestead was around, that whole era of labels. Lots of challenges for labels and bands financially back then in terms of distribution. Now there's still challenges for labels and bands, but those challenges are a whole different set of challenges. Coming from your point of view, who started before everything changed, you probably have a fairly unique kind of insight into, the old set of challenges and this set of new challenges. Is it easier or harder to make music now for a band starting out, do you think?
Well, it's probably exactly the same. I mean, to make music, you can always make. Well, getting it heard is something different, but I don't know how much of that. I feel like that's a secondary concern. I mean, you start by making music, and then if then you sort of think about. Hopefully, it seems to me, I've always kind of like, wait, you have a manager? You haven't even done a show yet. Why? I think there's too much. Sometimes there's too much thinking about stuff like that. You can always make music, and that's.
It's funny you say that. It reminds me. I was reading this interview with Ian Mackay years ago, and he said people connote success differently. I picked up a bass guitar and I could play it. I was successful. That's successful to me. Your own idea of success is just that. It's your own idea of it. And I think people who can bear that in mind probably have an easier time of it, making music for years and years and years, because they're happy to do it. Would you agree?
Well, it really comes down to what your goal is. And so if that's your goal, for sure. And it's, I've kind of made this joke before that I feel like when we said that we didn't start playing music to become famous. And it was like, well, you got your wish. You didn't become famous. Like, well done. So, but yeah, I think it really is what you want. I mean, somebody who could look at our band and think, really, you've done this all these years, and we've traveled the world. By our standards, we're very successful. But somebody could say, it seems like I was talking to somebody yesterday, just somebody with the record company, said, I don't think I could deal with all that traveling. People can look at what we do and think it's not for them, and I couldn't agree more. It's what you want.
We're on a public radio station where it still amazes me that we can sit in a little hut in the middle of the countryside and that this will go out all around the world on the internet. I love that. And just the people all around the city and all around Australia can hear us. You have a little bit of an involvement with public radio too, or what, I don't know what you called it, college radio in the US. Is it WMFU? Yeah, okay. Tell me a little bit about the things you've done for them and what the band's done for that station.
Well, it's funny. I think we tend to refer to it as freeform radio, and not public radio and not college radio, because I think WFMU is unique unto itself and not in any fitting in with another station. But it is a remarkable station, and in fact, right now they are raising money for the next year. And what we've done every year since 1996 is when they're fundraising, we go on one show, and people who pledge to the show get to make a request, and we try to play it. In fact, earlier between acts, we heard Go Your Own Way playing, and we played Go Your Own Way in some spontaneous way just a couple of Wednesdays ago, because somebody promised money to WFMU to hear it.
Well, tomorrow night at the Corner Hotel, we have an evening with Yo La Tengo, and of course, I doubt you do this in the festival set. I'm sure if you're going to, you'll put me right. But this is perhaps the time when we see the legendary spinning wheel, where we can maybe get requests, or you might even do something out of Seinfeld. I don't know. You tell me, Ira.
No, in fact, the wheel belongs to WFMU.
Okay.
We borrowed it, and they use it during this period. But we stopped doing that. It was really fun, and the Seinfeld thing was a remarkable night. We had this spinning wheel, and we were doing 2 sets, but the first set was determined by the spin of a wheel. We had, I think it was 8 or 9 different possible formats. It wasn't songs, but what format the first set might be, and we wanted to come up with something that no one had ever seen us do, no matter how many times you'd seen us. It was impossible you could have seen this. So we came up with this sitcom theater where we would just read the script from an entire episode of a sitcom, and I hope it sounds funny. I'm pretty sure it sounds funny, because people kept going, oh, I hope it comes up on that. And we kept saying, you may find that it sounds better than the reality. And that was absolutely what happened. And we did it in Chicago. And at first, it got people were really excited and laughing. And I don't know, am I allowed to curse on your radio station? There was one person right at the beginning, right up front, we could hear, she just went, and I think she was just talking to herself. She goes, "This is my worst fucking nightmare." But we can hear, and there's YouTube, and you can see me laughing when I hear her say that. But the more it goes on, the more people are like, what is going on? And by the end, it felt like the entire audience was just like, music. So it was great, fantastic night. But we are not. We will have we will know what we're playing before the wheel is spun.
We're in Australia, but I know you love Flying Nun and the music from New Zealand. Are you going there this year, this time?
We're playing in Wellington, yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, it's my hometown. A couple of years ago, many years ago now, you were involved in Stroke, Songs for Chris Knox. Now, put me right here, because I've got 2 Yo La Tengo songs from the project. I've got Becoming Something Other which I got digitally, and I've got another song which is on the CD. How did it work? Which
the other one is not become. We did colored.
Right.
That's the one we did. The other one's not us.
Really?
You know what? Why did I do this? I think I was making an MP3 of it for somebody recently.
Yep.
And I put the CD into, and I think it's whatever they call that thing where it reads.
Right.
I think it's just a glitch.
It's a record company screw up.
Yeah.
Okay. Two great songs.
It has to happen once.
Have you had any contact with Chris Knox or talked to him or had, been with him recently?
Not recently, no. We actually that time when the last time we were here on our last record, we saw him in Auckland.
Oh, good. Okay. We were talking about covers before, and just last week I was lucky enough to get the limited edition disc, which comes with Fade. Mm-hmm. Times New Viking, I could believe. A number of songs, I think I can hear Yo La Tengo doing that. ZZ Top surprised me a little bit.
Well, that was from last year's WFMU thing.
Okay.
That's what that was. Last year we were on tour in Europe.
Yeah.
During the entirety of the marathon, and we didn't want to miss it.
Yeah.
And so our friend Bruce Bennett, who plays in the A-Bones, he always joins us on the FMU show, and he flew over to Germany, and we went to a studio in Germany and broadcast back to Jersey City. But one of the requests was LaGrange, and we just thought, well,
awesome. Well, have you ever had a request that you've balked at for whatever reason?
Constantly. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't know. I mean, we try to make that clear. We're not encyclopedias. We don't know every song, and
You're not a jukebox either.
yeah. So we end up with just like a huge number of requests, and we're just sifting through them frantically. And the show always ends with a medley when we try to just kind of toss off like at least an acknowledgement of requests that we couldn't take. But no, constantly we don't even try certain songs. It's always
We will never hear Yo La Tengo doing Freebird. Okay, that's good.
I don't know. James is pretty amazing. James is our secret weapon, so he's the one who can kind of pull things out.
Yeah.
No one has actually ever requested that. I'm happy to say, but we'll see.
To finish off with, Fade is the last studio release for Yo La Tengo, and you work with John McIntyre from Tortoise and I believe the Sea and Cake.
Yeah.
A musician I just think is really unique in so many ways. Why the decision to work with him, and what came out of it for you?
It just I'm not sure why this time. We worked with Roger Moutno a long time and always talked about, do we want to work with them again? And the answer was always, yeah, let's do it. And at some point, and I think what we've talked about when we've worked with Roger, we've discussed other options and other things we could do. And so this time we were somehow, I don't know, somebody brought up John, and we're like, yeah, I'm sure that'd be great. So our schedules matched, and we were able to do something. What he brought, I'm never that sure in these situations. I think it's not like I don't think he's got a style. I think it's not like, Phil Spector. It's like, here's the John McIntyre sound, but he works very quickly. I think we were able to kind of be, you'd have an idea, you'd try it, you'd see if you like it. If you did, you'd do something, you'd do the next thing. If not, you'd work on it again. I mean, I think we moved a little faster than usual, thanks to him. Roger is quiet, John is quieter, and John was very reluctant to lead with his opinion. I think he would make us decide what we wanted rather than, when we worked with Roger, a lot of times, like, kind of each of us would say something and then Roger would kind of, I think this person's right, or John not even as much in that regard. So a lot of the things we had to kind of make more decisions than we do in the studio level.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Ira. All the best with the tour and the new record, or relatively new record. And it's always nice to have you in Australia. All the best with everything.
Great to be here.